Welcome. Today with us is Rob Roos, independent MP here in the European Parliament. My first question for you is, why is Brussels often seen as a side topic?
That's a good question, and it's really strange that people look at it that way. I think people don't know, but during the elections in the Netherlands and last November, Brussels was never mentioned, and that's strange because legislation made in Europe supersedes the legislation in the member states. So it should be a real topic, but the national parliaments and the national politicians, the national parliaments use it to say we have to do that because Brussels says so, but during the election is never mentioned. And the European politician and also national politicians should mention this much more.
Because we also saw it, for example, with the digital identity, the Dutch parliament was completely bypassed. So democracy is being put on the sideline. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, this is a different topic. This was a specific issue on the digital identity. But when you look at the legislation here adopted in Europe, then it supersedes the national regulations. And with that, you can never change it anymore. And this is what people don't know. So that's why it's much better to have legislation on a national level, because if it don't work, you can change it or you can remove it. But when it's adopted here in Brussels, then it is the law. And with that, people going out to vote in a national parliament, but sometimes it doesn't make any sense because it's already arranged in Brussels. And that's why it puts the democracy further away from the people. Because if you want to change something on a national level, it's not possible anymore. So this is really worrying me that democracy is moving away from the people.
Because if you would listen, for example, to Renew, they would say like, okay, but that's democracy, right? Every 4 years, every 5 years, you can go to the ballot and you can vote. But then earlier you mentioned that democracy and having a choice is an illusion. What do you mean with that exactly?
What I said is that when legislation on the European level is adopted, it supersedes the national legislation. With that, you never can change it anymore. In practice. In theory it's possible, but in practice it's not possible to change the legislation. So if the legislation is not working for certain member states, we are captured in the system. That's why I want that we have as much as possible legislation on a national level, because if it's not working or it's bad, we can change it or we can cancel it again. The thing is that the European Commission is the only institute who has the right of initiative to create the new legislation. But the European Commission is not a chosen body. It's the people are assigned. We as a parliament, we can only make the legislation some less worse or make some better, but we cannot change it. So that's why democracy is also moving away from the people, because the Commission is not a democratic body.
And I think this is interesting because what you're actually saying that the European Commission is undemocratic, but then does it even make sense to vote on a national level if we have no influence in legislation whatsoever?
I don't think the Commission is undemocratic, the system is undemocratic. The Commission is doing what it has to do, but it's not democratic because, for example, the Green Deal. No one asked for that. It's pushed by the Commission. It was never a part of any political program for the most political parties, but it's pushed by the Commission and then it's adopted. No one the people didn't ask for it. So this is not democracy. We should listen to the people. It's the will of the people. The member states are for the people and of the people. And if it's pushed by Brussels, it's just a central controlled economy. And that is not what the people want.
For the past 5 years, you've been working in the European Parliament. You know the institution, you know how the processes are going. What we also see is that the trust that people have in the European institutions have diminished in the past years.
Yes.
What can we do, according to you, to restore that trust again?
Trust can you earn by being transparent. The Commission is not transparent at all. We have a lot of issues that they are also mentioned by the Ombudsman and also by the Court of Auditors. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that if you want a real democracy and people have trust in the system, that the will of the people has to be respected. And what we see now is that the will of the people is completely ignored in all kinds of ways. If it's about our energy system, if it's about climate policy, it's about the farmers, it's about the debt that is created by the European Union. This is not the will of the people. So trust is coming back with transparency and to listen to the people, not push the agenda in one direction to them.
Well, I want to thank you for making your time, but also for the 5 years you've put all the effort in your heart into making sure that Europe has a good working democracy. So thank you for everything, and best of luck for what you're going to do next.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.